Welcome to the D&D world.
Hey Internet, how we doing today? My name is Alekazam, and I am here with D&D December. Just want to welcome you out to technically what is the 6th day in the month. That's why I'm kind of combining some of the topics that you may have seen. Today we're going to talk about my greatest triumph as well as my greatest despair in D&D. We're going to do that, of course, while playing good old Chronicles of Mystaria. It's going to be a good time. It's a really fun game, if you haven't noticed. I'm loving it. Still playing with some house rules on, for those wondering. For no other reason than just to make it a little easier. That way we're not playing the same stage forever. We can kind of blow through it. It's meant to be fun. It's not meant to be a tremendous pain in the butt, you know? What the hell? Oh. He just flew up and, like, ate shit. That was his whole plan of attack. So, really? Is this what we're gonna do? Okay. That's cool. So, let's talk about despair and triumph in D&D. Let's start with the low note. We'll take care of despair first. So, this is a story that I only vaguely recall. It took place during my very first game of D&D. Now, we were level 1 characters, maybe on the verge of level 2, I want to say. All of my comrades and I were in this incredible fight where we were just kicking butt, taking names, you know. Bad guys didn't stand a chance. It was pathetic. Oops, I bumped into that. And we just ran into one of the hardest bads that we possibly could after fighting like 6 or 7 guys. It was a big deal. Like, it wasn't like, you know, oh, we fought really hard and we all fell. It's nothing that basic. No, we were celebrating. We were in mid celebration in the middle of like a little opening, a clearing in the woods, in the local woods. And we're all proud and ready to go and just relax and eating food, being merry. And the DM goes, and that's when it happens. And suddenly, out of nowhere, an arrow lands dead center in one of my friends' faces, and they just slump over dead. It just immediately just dies. It was just bad luck. Guy rolled a crit, and we hadn't healed yet. It was meant to be a difficult fight, but that snake attack wasn't meant to hit, but it did. So we're already a little down after, finally having a big win in our very first outing, if you will. And immediately one of our comrades is down. What can you do? We ended up fighting hard. It was just a couple of bugbears. It was meant to be hard because we were wiped out, but not meant to be hard and impossible. Unfortunately, as I said, we weren't coming back from that. So he's down. We're all worried and concerned. Our wait, what? Why? Really? Can I? Oh, that's awesome. I'm keeping these. We're all very concerned in the sense that we don't know how strong these things are, because we've never played D&D before. Our characters decide to bravely stand and fight, not worried about it terribly, because there was only 2 of them, and there was 5 of us left, because it was a 6-person party. It was a big party, but we were a bunch of middle school kids, and our friend's mom was the DM, because she was into D&D as well, and she was a great DM. I really miss playing with her. So, good old DM character, or person, is going, hey, you guys have to make your initiative rolls. And we all rolled super freaking low. Now, at this time, I don't remember who was what. I just remember my first character was who I was, and it was an Elven Barbarian. So that already is like a terrible idea. I made him an Elven Barbarian because I thought, this will be neat. He'll be able to get really pissed off, and you never see a muscly, bulky elf man. That was my thought process. And I was also like super into Zelda, so I wanted to play an elf no matter what. But Barbarian just sounded like the most fun to me. I adored the idea of it. At the time, I wanted the guy who was pissed off and like super powerful and tough, because I was a scrawny 12-year-old boy. So naturally, everything goes to shit, and within a few turns and some really bad dice rolls, every single one of my party members died, except for my character. Now, that was tragic enough, but I decided, let's continue on with this quest. As I escaped from them, and I had my friends re-roll, I got to safety, we made it to the next town, and as we were leaving that next town, the same freaking bugbears came out of nowhere and just owned us. They killed every single one of us, but they saved me for last. So my character had to watch his comrades die twice within a span of 2 days. It was, oh man, if he would have survived that, I would have left him so messed up. Like, I wanted revenge, so that's why I convinced everybody in the party to fight those guys again. But more so, I wanted to make sure that, you know, they could get their revenge, even if they weren't aware they were getting it, kind of thing. You know, just having fun. It sucks that it turned out that way. Eventually, we gave up on the quest, and it was up to someone else to come up with a campaign. No one wanted to volunteer, because no one wanted to follow that up. She was, like, obviously experienced, and we were just little babies. In any case, it was down, you know, it was downer, Debbie Downer, and I am going to bring everyone's spirits down with this. So let's talk about my greatest triumph in D&D. Now, this one, I didn't do anything special. All right, let me set the stage for you. This is more recent, so I have a more vivid memory of this. This was a couple years ago. I think 5.0 had like just come out, and we were super excited to give it a shot and have a good time. You know, just generally be merry with D&D. Why? Fine, do that. Whee! What is this? Oh, did I just summon a freaking owlbear? Tight. Anyway, so 5.0 like just come out. We were attempting to. Ah, man. All right. Whatever. Come at me. Can I just? I don't care about the points. So we were attempting to learn all the rules. I was my rogue, and I had a friend who was playing a cleric, and everybody was, you know, playing the roles or whatever. We were following a pre-made quest. I don't remember the name of it. Basically, it's one where a cult is trying to summon T-Men, and our DM, he took some liberties. Like, he made it different in some ways, I feel. But one of the ways I don't think he did was there was this town where there's like a little castle. We were in there hanging out, and war erupted basically, and we had this huge fight going on, and we ended up protecting the castle with a bunch of guards, which was fireproof, by the way, against a red dragon. Basically, he was just gonna break fire at us and try to like swoop in and kill people any chance he got, but we weren't having it. And my buddy goes, okay, yeah, so you guys kill a dragon, basically, along with half the city. So we didn't gain like 1,000,000 levels or anything. And it felt damn good, though. Alright, I can't kill these. There's clearly... Is it magic? Is it something... Like, what hurts these? Hold on. This is bugging me. I don't know what kills gargoyles, but it's clearly not... It's clearly not... Hey, rude. Rude! These guys are not dying. Fuck it. Just, hello. Orb? Is orb a thing? Okay, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I'm gonna take the earrings, though. Fuck that. Anyway, so we're in this castle. We just killed a dragon. And the, like, general guy of the big bads shows up and is like, alright, you're pretty awesome. You did a really good job. You managed to fell, you know, years of our work, so here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna challenge your best man to a duel. Now, my character was a rogue, but this was his home. Like, we established in the lore that this is where my character was from, and that, you know, I wasn't going to have that, basically. And my friend goes, okay, no, you're a rogue, you're going to die, so let me do it. He was a cleric. Now, I trusted this guy because he and I had pulled some, like, Ocean's 11 bullshit, and I was down to clown for this. I was ready to hang out and make this work. He went ahead and did it, but I wasn't just going to stand idly by, so I came up with a plan. How on earth can I help him, basically, is what I was questioning at the time. What's this do? Okay. And he also was willing to let me help, but he couldn't think of any good way for me to help out. I mean, how can I? I'm in the middle of nowhere, basically. And that's when I realized, duh, I'm a rogue. I can sneak. So I, like, rappelled down the side of the castle wall, snuck around in the middle of their duel. And my original idea was, I'm going to sneak up. Unfortunately, this guy had, like, a legion of kobolds, like, surrounding him. He had, like, a couple hundred with him. It was meant to be super intimidating so that we couldn't cheat. But there was no telling if he would cheat. Oh shit! I'm fighting a lich! That's crazy! Can't beat a lich! Fireball. No, not fireball. The guy he was fighting to was like a dragonborn guy, so it was like extra intimidating and really spooky. And we were not safe, and we knew we were not safe. Can I move? That would be tight. Just ask all those chickens, but whatever. Anyway, so my friend's fighting, and he's doing surprisingly well. It was meant to be like one shot, he's dead, but again, them dice rolls, you know, he managed to stand up to this guy and survive and put up a hell of a fight. And the guy was not having it, so he was about to throw down when my actions finally came into play, where I had snuck out and I was coming up behind him to roll down this vial of black ichor that we had found earlier in our questing that if you touched it, hurt you, like the liquid itself. But if you were to ingest it in any way, based on our level, you just die. Like, you take a ton of damage, basically, is what it did. And, okay. Alright. All the dicks. I love how it's like, no. Oh my god, I can't move. So I go up this hill, I sneak by, and no one notices me except for the villain. And he thinks that I'm just coming around to interfere with his duel. And when it's clear that I'm not, he says nothing. The kobolds, in turn, start fighting just a little bit over the ichor that I threw down there, thinking like it was food and they could drink it. As I planned, which was great. So the DM basically says, okay, the fight happens, my friend fails, whatever. He loses. But the crazy thing is, straight up, my bottle is gone. The kobolds took it. So I'm thinking to myself, great, we're at a loss. Not only did you screw up the duel, like, also the the potent, damaging potion is now in the hands of the bad guys. Here's why this is a triumph. A little while down the line, we sneak into an encampment to try to get someone back for the war effort. And it turns out that my spooky potion was too strong for them, and they drank it, and like every kobold died. So I managed to kill an entire army because I wanted to be involved in a duel between two other people. And for me, that was a great time. I've never felt better in my life. It was just a good time. Quite proud of that one. So that obviously leaves me to wonder, what are your greatest triumphs? Like, what have you done in D&D that just, you said to yourself, damn, that felt good? And it could be anything, you know, and also your greatest despair. Like, what was the saddest moment you've had in D&D? Obviously mine was having to watch my whole party die, as I said, and greatest triumph, of course, was just being a badass. A badass rogue. It was a good time. I thought of a few other ones too. Like, there was another time where I was playing D&D, and I had a really great triumph when I was going to be assassinated, and I had woken up from their attempt because I tried to do it in my sleep, and the assassin was standing over my bed, and he rolled an attack roll against me and got a 1. He said, well, let's see if you notice. And I said, okay. And I noticed him. So in his critical fail, he went to come at me, and I threw the dagger that my character was sleeping with under his bed. Or under his pillow, I mean. And he ended up killing himself on his own weapon. That was a pretty great triumph for me, because it was like, I assassinated the assassin, basically. It felt good. Trying to think of another cool one. Oh, I do have another triumph that was an accidental triumph as well. So I was at a point where I think I've told this where other people did it, but really I did it. I was just kind of embarrassed. I wasn't thinking, to be honest with you, and I had a character whom his only weapon he had left, due to circumstances that are irrelevant at this point, he had a dagger. That's all he had left. And he had basically managed to somehow like buff himself in a way that had allowed for him to be able to throw it very far. Like, maybe it was a magic thing, I can't remember. And what I was going to do is I was going to help my friends out from within this dungeon that I had been thrown into for, ironically enough, not thievery, but, what's the word? Treason? Not treason. Espionage. People thought I was spying for the enemy, but I wasn't. I was a good guy. Turns out there was some other betrayal in there, and this guy was going to betray people using archers on like a castle wall. And I went up there to try and like assassinate these guys and fight them all, like all these archer guys, and prevent them from killing dudes from behind, basically. That was my big part of this combat. So he gets up there and he does the thing. Or I get up there, I should say, and I do my thing. And I go to throw my dagger at the first guy. Just get up there, and the first second I see one, just chuck my dagger, hoping it'll like kill him, and we can just kind of move on. So what ends up happening is I roll a critical miss, and that means that something bad is going to happen. And my friend realized that I had some really bad luck, because on my way up there, like, I had gotten into all kinds of trouble, and like all my rolls were terrible. So he gave me like just a nice little like gimme. He was like, I'll tell you what. You throw your dagger in a perfectly straight line, and it looks like it's going to hit, but what ends up happening is it cuts through the bowstring of the first bowman. And I was like, wait, it's perfectly straight? He's like, yeah. And I was like, and it cuts through that? He's like, yeah. I was like, and I can throw it this far? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. I cut through all the strings then, don't I? And he's like, shit. And he did the math, and he figured it out, and he was like, well, it's perfectly straight. The blade's facing outward to cut it. Fine. Yeah, you sure do. Which is fine. But then that left me up there with about 6 or 7 really pissed off archers who just lost their bow. And they all promptly beat me to death using their stringless bow. So I guess in a way, it's a tragedy that's also a... Cheese and crow. Trying to charge. There we go. It's a tragedy that's also like despair, because my character did die at that point. And I was embarrassed by that because my first thought when I got up to the ending was not to, you know, stealthily take them all out. It was to chuck my knife at them. I'm gonna help these gnomes out because they're adorable. And how am I doing? It's gonna be a good time when we do that because we're gonna see it next time. I'm gonna go ahead and exit the shop. Oh boy, we're gonna end it off here. I feel like that's been about right. I just want to take the time to thank everybody who's taken the time to check out my videos. I've been pushing these a lot harder, and they've been super successful in terms of viewership. and I hope that trend will continue. I hope people will give me a chance and they'll continue to watch me play these games and do all this stuff, because I'm really enjoying my time in D&D December, and my goal, honestly, was to use this as a way to get more people to check me out, because there's a handy hashtag and all this fun stuff, and you know, the people who are coming out of here who aren't subscribers and they're just watching, thanks so much. You know, even if you don't subscribe, even if you don't like the video or comment or anything, I'm just really glad that you took the time to check me out, and that means a lot to me. So you know, thanks very much, and I do hope maybe you'll come back again and maybe consider subscribing and doing all that fun stuff. And to those of you who always do it, of course, I'm no less thankful for you. I hope you're enjoying this. You know, comment down below what you like, what you hate, answer the question of the day, share your stories, because that's the point of D&D December, is to get involved and learn more about this awesome hobby. And we're going to do that some more tomorrow in the next episode, so I will see you next time.